Hello everyone and welcome back to Lucky Loaders 15, where I'll be giving you my 7 best bets tomorrow, which will include my selection in the Group 1 Eclipse Stakes. Looks like the best race there's been all year so far. Really looking forward to that at Sandown. We've got the likes of Enable coming back, Gaeth, some good challenges as well in Japan, Deirdre, Magic One, some really top horses in there tomorrow. Really excited about that race, and I'll be giving you my thoughts and feelings as well on the Prix de Jockey Club and the Prix de Diane as well. I've got some tips for that, and I'll give you my little analysis of that a little bit later on in the video. But let's start off with my recap on how today's selections went. Before we go on to my Epsom Derby each way success, let's get Love out of the way. I've had a lot of comments on Twitter after I put out a tweet saying that I don't actually think Love's performance was that good in the grand scheme of things. Now, I know she won the race by 9 lengths, and I know she beat the course record, but let's take that course record angle on first, right? She beat Enable, who obviously is one of the best fillies in modern times. She beat her record by 0.07. That's not a huge margin of time. Yes, it's a new record, but it's not an outstanding record smasher, is it? And if you actually look at the card, what else was going on today with the times? Safe Voyager broke the track record today. Now, Safe Voyager isn't a horse that you would normally think excels on good ground. You normally think of his career best performances coming on soft and heavy. But the fact he broke the track record today clearly suggests that the course was set up for the right conditions to break those records. And I think if we had maybe a slightly softer ground, or if it had been softer, obviously Love wouldn't have broken those records. And there's been other horses in the past that could have broken the records if they were running on perfect conditions. So I just think that yes, she broke the record, but you don't just look at it literally. Sometimes we get carried away, and this is one of those exceptions where I think we're getting carried away, and you need to set a second look at it. Now, the horse, like I said, she won by 9 lengths, but what did she beat? Now, Frankly Darling, now I did tip up Frankly Darling, and I'm not talking through my pocket on the performance. I think she didn't run her true race. I wasn't quite happy with the tactics used. I would have liked to have seen Frankie maybe leading that chase group, you know. She was given far too much to do, and even though there was a pace collapse, Love, to be fair to her, got first run, and once she got the first run, she was just able to come out and show her class. Now, she will be a classy filly, no doubt about that whatsoever, but I think once she faces some rivals that are potentially racing in France tomorrow, you've got the likes of Peaceful, who I said well before, a couple of months ago, I think that this is Haydock Doncaster's best 3-year-old filly, and she's done it so far. We'll have to see tomorrow how she does in the Prix de Diane. That statement might be short-lived. Alpine Star could be a really interesting contender for her to take on, because she absolutely blitzed the field at Royal Ascot in the Coronation Stakes. The only worry is, though, maybe they might not ever clash, because possibly they might want different trips in time, you know. But going back to the Oaks, what was there on paper that could have really scared her today? Frankly Darling was the only horse that probably could have pushed her on paper through official ratings, and the fact that she was a group winner. Now, I saw some people saying, oh, Love is a listed. No, I didn't quite mean it in the context, if you actually read my tweet correctly. I actually said that I think that the field were no more than, apart from Frankly Darling, they were no better than probably listed or Group 3 rated horses. A lot of the horses on official ratings were in the mid to high 90s. I think Estimum maybe was rated 104, if I'm correct in thinking. But apart from that, apart from Frankly Darling, there was nothing above 110 to give Love a match in the race, you know, and that's why she won emphatically. She was entitled to do so on her official rating. You go back to the Guineas form as well. That's not really worked out that well. It was a weak 1,000 Guineas in my opinion, even though she did bolt up. I just think a lot of the horses in that race didn't get a mile. You look at Quadrilateral. She hasn't really come out and enhanced the form claims in the Coronation Stakes. Cloak of Spirits has kind of just maintained her level, you know. She was beaten 4 lengths, I think it was, in the 1,000 Guineas. She ran okay in the Coronation Stakes, but she didn't progress, and today she probably ran again at the same level. Summer Romance obviously did win today, who did run in that Guineas, but could you argue, has she really progressed? Maybe she ran over the wrong trip, you know. And the only other horse that has boosted that form is Under the Stars. And Under the Stars, it wasn't a miler, definitely a sprinter. And she won a sprinting listed race at Haydock. So arguably, the form is... It's not that good. I think we're just getting carried away. Sometimes horses are much better than their rivals, and clearly Love has been much better than her rivals. But later on in the season, I think she could be vulnerable to improving types, or she's going to have to put more down, and that's where we will see her. I'm happy to be proved wrong at the end of the year by saying how good Love is, but I just think we need to get things into perspective. And I just think maybe if the race had tactically panned out differently, it might not have been as an emphatic margin. I think the fact that they went so hard early on, it just set it up for Love. And that's why she was able to show her true class. I think we just need to look at the race in a wider picture today. And like I said, the fact that she broke the track record, the perfect conditions were probably there for her to do so, with the likes of, say, Voyager breaking the track record. You know, if other horses maybe had run on the kind of conditions she had today, Love had today, they might have broken the track record and even produced better time. So I would kind of take that with a pinch of salt. But yes, she was a good winner on the day. She was clearly the best horse in the race. But I don't think the field really on paper were ever going to threaten her too much, and obviously none of them look like they could they've really improved. They've kind of hit their limit, you know, and that's why I said I think they will be probably no more than listed or Group 3 fillies at best. I don't see any Group 1 candidates emerging later on down the line. That's something you can probably put up in a video as well. But yeah, enough of me talking about Love. Now, our good success of the day was in the Epsom Derby, where my long shot, my 100 to 1 each way pick, Amhran Na Bhfiann, I think that's how you pronounce it. Probably murdered the pronunciation again, even though I have heard it a couple of times today from the commentators. But anyway, he ran a fairly credible race in what was obviously a strangely run derby. Obviously, it paid well to be handy. Serpentine, Maidel, you don't normally see that too often, and the rest of the field, to be honest, I actually haven't really watched the rest of it back, to be honest. I'm not really sure where the likes of Mogul came, and Russian Emperor, saw English King closing down, but that's because I was doing all my notes for this video. But yeah, but Amhran Na Bhfiann, if I can ever pronounce his name right, he ran with credit, you know, and he showed that what I was saying about that race at Leopardstown, that was probably a really useful maiden novice race. You had the likes of the first 3 running in the Irish Derby and finishing 2nd, 3rd and 4th, and even in behind, I'm not going to say his name again, but lied down in that field, you've had horses that, yeah, they might not have won, but they've still placed in some useful contest against some nice horses, some nice prospects. So the form, it looked all right, and it wasn't a complete fluke, you know. I did think that this horse had a serious chance of running a blinder today, and he was related to Woz as well, who was his full sister and won the Epsom Oak. So obviously the course was there in its pedigree for it to go and do well. So my logic proved to be right. And we also had another winner as well at Haydock with Royal Context for Michael Dodds. He just got up in front, but nonetheless, you know, it was a nice winner, and it means that we've had another good day. That's our 3rd consecutive profitable day in a row, and hopefully we can continue on tomorrow. The other 2 selections that ran for us were Archer's Moon, that never got into the frame, to Haydock, and then Void did too much too late, ran on to snatch place. But yeah, very disappointing with those selections. But away from that, it's been a really good day for us. I know I'm going to get probably lots of stick about Love, and a lot of people watching this video probably won't agree and probably thinking I'm talking an absolute load of rubbish. But if I tip up 100 to 1 each way shout, you know, can't all be that bad, can it, if it comes in? So enough of me talking about today. But before I go on to tomorrow as well, just promote quickly the Telegram page. If you want to be part of that Telegram page where we can have some racing debates, good chat, you know, all a bit of banter, a little bit of crack, just click the link below and it will send you through to that. And we're going to be running a competition on that as well. We're going to be doing a free cash giveaway, and to find out more about it, you need to be part of the Telegram page. We're going to be throwing a little competition, and to enter it, you need to pick out 3 winners from 3 races, and those races are going to be the Eclipse, they're going to be the Old Newton Cup, which is a handicap at Haydock tomorrow, and also as well the Lancashire Oaks. But to be part of that competition where you could win, I think it's £250, and if no one wins it, there's going to be a rollover next week to £500. You just need to pick 3 winners from 3 races, but to be part of that, you need to be in the Telegram group, and there'll be instructions explained later on this evening. So make sure you click the link below, and then you'll just need to download the app, and then you can just follow it through from there. So that's all you got to do about that. But enough of me waffling on, let's get into the tips for tomorrow's racing. And we're going to be starting off in the Prix de Jockey Club with my nap, which runs in the 210 at Chantilly. I'm going to go for Ocean Atlantique here for Pierre-Charles Bourdeaux and Andre Fabre. You can currently back this horse at 6-1 each way at the current time of recording. Now, I think this horse has got a good chance tomorrow of winning this race. I always thought really that this horse would excel over longer trips, and I would rather be on this horse than Victor Ledorum. I'm not sure about the form of Victor Ledorum, even though he was a comfortable winner in that French 2000 Guineas. I'm not sure it was a great renewal, like I keep saying about a lot of these races, but I just think it was a weak renewal, and this Ocean Atlantique is a serious animal. I was really impressed with his win in a listed contest at Deauville, even though he does have to step up in grade tomorrow. He did beat a nice filly that day called Erska, who hasn't really boosted the form too much when she finished 3rd the other week. I think that again was in a listed race. But Ocean Atlantique, you know, he's by American Pharaoh. Even though he's got an American sire, you shouldn't worry about that until American Pharaoh actually won the Belmont Stakes, which is over 1.5 miles. So he's got stamina in his pedigree, and he should, I think, go towards the front. And if Pierre-Charles Bourdeaux can dictate the sectionals right, I just think at 6-1 he's a dangerous price, and I'd rather be on him than Victor Ledorum. And he's a horse that I've been excited to follow ever since French racing resumed. I remember seeing him a couple of times last year, and I thought that this horse was really nice. And Pierre-Charles Bourdeaux has been riding so well in France ever since racing resumed there early back in May. I think Ocean Atlantique tomorrow at 6-1 represents a lot of good value there, and I would be disappointed. I think there's also as well 4 places being paid on quite a few firms. So if you can get the 6-1, I think that's a good each way stab, and that is going to be my nap for tomorrow. We then go my next best, funnily enough, which comes in the next race at Haydock in the 240, the Lancashire Oaks, and I'm going to take a chance here on Manuela de Vega for Rob Hornby and Rafe Beckett. Now, I was actually there at Salisbury that day. She won her maiden, and it's not you don't see too many horses of Rafe Beckett's win first time out, and she created quite the impression that day. And she's always been a favourite horse of mine. I think she was unlucky not to win a Group 1 last year, but she really did show her class by winning the Group 3 Pinnacle Stakes at Haydock last time out, beating Fanny Logan. And Fanny Logan went on to boost the form by winning the Group 2 Hardwick Stakes at Royal Ascot. So the form is rock solid, and I think Manuela de Vega, with the previous course win, the soft ground as well, it's going to be on the soft side there. They've had plenty of rain the last couple of days at Haydock. It's going to be conditions that she really relishes, and you can currently back her at 2-1, and I think that represents a good bit of value. The other Rafe Beckett filly, Antonia de Vega, she really did scramble home in that listed race at Pontefract. But for me, I think Manuela de Vega sets the standard, and despite having to give away weight to some younger rivals, I think she's still a class above all her rivals tomorrow. And for me, at 2-1, I think she's got solid credentials. We then go to the Prix de Diane, the 255 at Chantilly. This is going to be one of Loader's extra bets for Shamie Heffernan and Aidan O'Brien. Now, like I've said from earlier on this season, I've always liked this horse. I mentioned it in our Tote 10 to Follow podcast, on the In the Saddle podcast a couple of months ago, that I really liked Peaceful. I really liked her win. I think it was at Thales last year, and then she finished second behind Bournemouth Pride in that listed race at Newmarket, where she probably didn't like the ground. She probably likes quicker ground. But even though it was described this morning as soft at Chantilly, apparently the weather forecast is it's going to dry out, so that shouldn't be an issue for her whatsoever, and it's going to help her tremendously. And I thought she was a very worthy winner of the Irish 1000 Guineas. She won it in really good style, and she's bred to get slightly further, and I just think she's got a massive chance in this race tomorrow. Now, I know a lot of people will be saying, Chris, why are you going with Peaceful? She's been sent to France. Wayne O'Brien, he probably doesn't want to keep all his fillies together. He doesn't want to keep running all his best fillies in the same races, you know. He probably wants to keep them apart and maybe meet on later on down the season. It's a thing like John Gosden's does as well with some of his star fillies. Like I would have liked to seen Franco Senior, I think it is today, the filly that won that listed race at Newbury. I think she would have definitely given Love a run for her money, and I believe she's going to run in the Musadora at York, which I think is next week. So it'd be interesting to see how she does. But I think she's definitely could give Love a run for her money later on down the line, you know. So yeah, Peaceful tomorrow. I think they've gone there because it's a winnable race. However, the danger is going to be Alpine Star. But I think Peaceful has a little bit more class than Alpine Star. Could regret saying that. But for me, Peaceful, she's just a horse that I've always liked. And I just think she's got a great attitude. And I think she'll come on further from that Irish 1000 Guineas performance. Because you look at Aidan O'Brien's horses and they always normally improve for their run. We've seen it countless times already this season. And I think that Peaceful at 7-2 in places, I think that's a good win bet. And I would be disappointed if she didn't at least make the frame. So for me, Peaceful is going to be my selection in the Prix Diane. We then go to the 315 with another extra tip in the Old Newton Cup, the 315. I'm going with Ranch Hand here for David Probert and Andrew Bolden. You can currently back it at 7-1 at the time of recording with 5 places on offer. Now this horse was well gambled for the Copper Horse Handicap at Royal Ascot, but probably it was maybe a little bit of a warm race and maybe the horse needed it. Hasn't always gone well fresh before. But I think going back to Haydock tomorrow is a good move. It won a really nice handicap here last season, beating the likes of Trushan, who's got the form lines with Caravan of Hope. Hey, we like Caravan of Hope, favourite here on the channel. And also as well, Moon King for Rafe Beckett, who's no slouch. So Ranch Hand has got a lot of good form from last season, and he excels in soft ground. And obviously that's going to help him tomorrow. And I just think at 7-1, he's got a good chance here, going very close. And I think he's going to be the one that they've all got to beat, in my opinion. And at 7-1, again, I would be disappointed if he didn't finish. I would be disappointed if he finished outside of the frame. So Ranch Hand is going to be my selection in the 315 at Haydock. We then go to the Eclipse Stakes, and again I'm going to be Mr. Unpopular here in the 335. I'm going to be taking on Enable. She's not going to be my lay of the day because she could win, but I don't think she will. I think she might get found out. Now I think that race at a Longshot in the Arc might have just taken quite a bit out of her. She had a grueling race in the King George, and I think that broke Crystal Ocean when they had that epic duel up the home straight at Ascot. I think that really broke him, and sometimes I think that's we can underestimate it in horses, at how much an effect a race can have on them. You look at it in the National Hunt game, some horses have some really tough races and then they can just never get over it, and I just wonder if that might apply to the flat, and I think it can do. And I'm not saying that she's still going to run a good race tomorrow. I think she can run a good race tomorrow. I think she can place and definitely go very close to winning, but I just think she could be vulnerable first time out. And I think this is a much better race compared to last year. You're going to have the likes of Gaeth, Japan, Magic Wand, Deirdre. You know, you've got some nice types in here. And the one I'm going to take her on with is Deirdre. Now, I know a lot of people who are going to take on Enable well beside him with Gaeth. But for me, Gaeth, he probably needs a little bit more time in between his runs. If you actually look at his career, he's not ever really been able to back up some of those performances. I think in France last season, he won first time out, but then his subsequent performance wasn't that good. I think he got beat by Wollgeist, actually. And then, obviously, he won the nice race in Germany by 14 lengths, wasn't it, the Group 1 out there. But then again in the Arc, when it came to it, he blew up and he went a bit crazy. And I just think he might have wanted a bit more time between his races, even though he would have had nearly a month off the track. But yeah, Gaeth for me, I think he'll set up the race for a closer, and that closer for me is going to be Deirdre, and she's going to be my long shot tomorrow. Currently, you can back her at 25-1 for Oisin Murphy and Mitsuru Hashida. I think that's how you pronounce it. Now, this filly got plenty of time for her. She won the Group 1 Nassau Stakes at 33-1 last season. I remember I was there at Glorious Goodwood in the parade ring, working with BBC Radio Sussex and the Japanese connections. They were jumping up and down. They're making a lot of noise, but fair play to them. You know, they had the balls to bring over the horse over here to Europe to compete at the highest level, and their impressions were right, you know, that she could do it, and it was a really nice performance. She then arguably was unlucky in the Irish Champion Stakes at Leopardstown, and I think I heard last year Oisin Murphy said if he could have one ride back, it would have been that ride in the Irish Champion Stakes. He wasn't quite happy. I think if I remember correctly, he was trying to look for some gaps, and he didn't quite get them. The race didn't quite develop for her. But I think this track at Sandown tomorrow is really going to suit her, and the drying ground should help out as well. There shouldn't be any rain forecast, or if there is, just a light shower, but it won't be on the soft side. It'll be good ground, and I think that'll be absolutely fine for Deirdre. And I could just see her coming with a late run, challenging, and if Enable isn't on her A game, I think Deirdre could easily pick her up. And at 25 to 1, I think that's a bit of a disrespectful price to Deirdre. I think she should be more of probably a 10 to 1 chance, to be honest with you. Japan, I'm not sure. He's a horse that I've never really taken to. Magic Wand could be the Springer in the works, but I think outside of Australia, she hasn't actually won a Group 1, so who knows with her. And Bangkok, I think that's the other owner, not my gravy. But yeah, Deirdre tomorrow, I think could definitely be the fly in the ointment if there is one. And at 25 to 1, I'll be willing to take a chance with her. My lay of the day then comes in the 4:35 at Sandown with Dean Street Dole for Ryan Moore and David Manuzia. You can currently lay it on the Betfair exchange at the current time of recording for 4.6. Now this horse was originally trained in Ireland and now changed hands to David Manuzia, who's a trainer I've got a lot of time for. I really like a lot of his horses. But this horse finished a credible 9th in the Royal Hunt Cup on the wrong side of the track, arguably. But I just think this horse tomorrow for mark of 92, they found actually quite a tough race for it, to be honest with you. I really like Tulip Fields. I think there's a lot to like about her. And even though she is rated 92, she's going to be getting pretty much nearly a stone in weight. She's getting the 3-year-old age allowance tomorrow. She's getting plenty of weight from Dean Street Mile. And there's also some other nice fillies in here like Bella Vita, who I think's got a good chance of going close. So has Be More, you know. And I just think this Dean Street Dole, she might just be a little bit high in the weights for my liking. And with her having to give away weight, I think she's quite vulnerable there for the win purpose tomorrow, and that's why I'm going to take her on as my lay of the day. We then go with my final tip, which runs in the 5:35 at Doncaster with Power of State for Dougie Costello and Hugo Palmer. Thought this horse was really eye-catching at Beverley when it probably needed a little bit further, to be honest with you. And making up ground at Beverley isn't always easy. You sometimes want to be on the front or be racing prominently. It's a hard track to make up ground. And this horse was pretty much a hands and heels ride by Paul Mulrennan in the last furlong. He didn't even use the whip once on this horse, and it was quite a good race against Colony Queen, who's been an informed filly for Connections over the last 6 months or so. She's been racking up plenty of wins, and a lot of her form is quite good as well. And this horse at Doncaster tomorrow is going up in trip to 1.5 miles, and I think the track will really suit him. I think the galloping nature of it, the long home straight, will really see him in good effect. If he's held out the back by Dougie Costello, I can see him coming with a late run, and I think he's 7 to 1. I think actually in places. I think there's 4 places on offer as well. I think he's got a good chance tomorrow of going very close. And again, I would be disappointed if he didn't go very close to winning. So yeah, they're my 7 best bets for tomorrow's horse racing action. So if you haven't done so already, please subscribe here for more videos on my YouTube channel. You can also follow me on Twitter if you want to give me a bit of dig about love, which you can do, where my handle is at LuckyLoaders15. You can also as well check out my website for a full portfolio of my work, where my website address is www.chrisloaderracing.co.uk. Please gamble responsibly. Hopefully we can have some winners tomorrow, and remember as well to subscribe to the Telegram group. But that's all I've got to say, and we'll be seeing you soon.